Hi, this is Justin with Vayu Yoga. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be doing a yin practice, and we're going to get started by just taking a couple minutes to sit and observe our breathing. So we'll find a comfortable seated position. Cross-legged is great. Let the spine feel slightly lengthened. The chin drops just a little bit toward the chest. You can have your hands resting on your knees or wherever they're comfortable. We're just going to turn our awareness to the sensations of our breath. We don't need to make any changes to how we're breathing here. We're just observing. And the idea is that by being in a simple position and paying attention to our breath, we can begin to cultivate a sense of how it feels to breathe that we can then bring into the rest of our yoga practices when we find ourselves in more strenuous postures. We can tune back into our breath and make sure that the breath is staying smooth and steady. We'll be here just a little bit longer. Alright, if you had your eyes closed, you can open them. We're going to make our way into our first posture here. We'll extend our legs out straight in front of us, and we'll come into a forward fold, caterpillar posture. You can slide or walk the hands along the outsides of the legs. If you would like some support, either a pillow or a folded up blanket or something between your legs and your chest, feel free to bring any amount of support you might like. I'm using my hands as a pillow on my legs today. But you might prefer nothing, and that's fine. And for the most part, I'm going to leave you in a quiet space once we've gotten into our poses. But in this first pose, I'll just go over a little bit of some of the reasons why we might end up moving once we've settled into a pose. And the first one would be if anything becomes painful. If you feel pain, we're going to want to back out of a posture. Along those lines, if you start to feel any tingling or pins and needles, then we're going to want to back out of that posture as well. And the third reason would be the opposite side of that coin. If the sensations in the body begin to ease and you don't end up feeling so much as the stay elongates, then you might actually physically take yourself a little bit deeper into the pose, either by removing some of the propping if you happen to be on any, or just, inching yourself a little bit further in whatever direction the posture is calling for. Other than that, we're just going to come in, settle in, find our breath, and enjoy what the pose has to offer. We'll be here just a little bit longer. We'll begin to make our way out of the posture by slowly walking the hands back toward the hips a bit, bringing ourselves upright little by little, taking our time. There's no rush. Just feeling that rebound into the low back and the hamstrings. And we'll come into our next posture here, butterfly pose. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. We'll draw the heels in whatever amount is comfortable for you. And we'll begin to fold out over or toward the feet. And again, if you'd like some pillows or blankets, or pillows and blankets between your upper body and your feet, feel free to stack as much or as little as you would like. And of course, you can use nothing here as well. Turn our awareness back to our breath and let gravity and time do their thing. We want to try to slowly approach our edge when we're coming into these poses. As you can see, as we stay for a couple of minutes in each posture, if we come right to our edge right away, things can get pretty intense pretty quickly. So we want to give ourselves a little bit of space to kind of melt toward our edges. We'll be here for maybe 5 more breaths or so. And we'll make our way out of this posture along the same lines as our exit from the previous. We'll slowly walk the hands back, bringing ourselves a little bit more and more upright, little by little. Then we're going to take the legs out from this position, plant the feet to the mat, bring the knees together. We're just going to drop the knees over from one side to the other, just slowly, steadily. Just getting a little extra relief into the hips and low back here. And we'll make our way into our next posture, which will be sort of a half straddle position. So we'll start with both legs out wide, and then we're going to bend the right knee as deeply as it's willing to bend. We're going to pivot to face our left leg, and we'll kind of walk the hands out and fold over the left leg. And again, same options here for support. Bring as much or as little as you would like to have. Let the body soften. Tune right back into the breath. Keep the breath slow and steady. And about 5 more breaths here. begin to make our way up nice and slow, as we have been. And we're going to turn to face the midline here, and then we will walk the hands out a little bit and soften right here. Again, bringing any pillows, blankets, blocks, whatever you might be using for support, if you're using anything for support. And we'll bring ourselves right back to our breath. We'll be here about 5 more breaths. And again, slowly making our way upright, little by little, taking our time, rising up. We're going to do one more variation with our legs still in this position. We're going to pivot now to face our bent leg, and then walk the hands out and soften over the bent leg. And of course, just bringing our awareness back to our breath and checking in that the body is staying soft. We're not forcing depth. And again, only go as far as is comfortable. And we have some space for time and gravity to deepen the posture for us. And about 5 more breaths on this side. And we'll begin to slowly bring ourselves up right here, and little by little, coming up, taking our time, pivot back to the center. We'll take the right leg out wide, we'll bring the left leg in, bending the knee as deeply as it's willing. We'll turn toward the right leg, which is now of course straight, and we will soften over the leg here. Always checking back in on our breath, making sure it's staying smooth, slow, steady, and soft. ourselves about 5 more breaths here. And then little by little, begin to walk the hands back up along the leg, bringing ourselves more and more upright. And we'll turn to face the center line here. And walk the hands a bit forward, softening down the middle. And again, just making sure that the body is not harboring efforted tensions. Always coming back to our breathing. And another 5 breaths here. And starting to come up here, using the hands and arms to help bring ourselves back upright. Taking our time. Now we'll pivot to face the bent left leg, and we'll walk the hands out and soften out over the leg. And once we're settled in, again, we come right back to our breathing. And again, about 5 more breaths here on this side. And slowly starting to make our way up, once again, using the hands and the arms, taking our time. Pivot back to the center, and we'll extend the left leg back out wide. And while we're here, we'll come into a full straddle posture. Again, use as much or as little support between your upper body and the floor here as you would like. I have a giant stack of pillows and blankets, if that's what makes you comfortable today. And again, we'll just check in that the body is soft and that the breath is following suit. About 5 more breaths here. And we'll begin to make our way up from here, again, slowly, taking our time, feeling that little rebound and release and relief into the low back and the hamstrings, the hips. Bring the legs together, and we're going to lie down flat on our backs here. Going to draw both knees in, wrap the arms around the shins, and just give a gentle squeeze, giving ourselves a little hug here. And we'll let the left leg come down flat to the ground. Keep the right knee bent, and we'll drop that knee over to the left side. Coming into a reclined twist here. I'm going to extend the right arm out to the side a bit. It'll help keep that shoulder from lifting off the ground so much. The left arm could mirror the right arm and be laying down flat on the ground as well. If you choose to keep the left hand connected to the outside edge of the right leg, just do so softly so that we're not pulling down on the leg. We're just lending the weight of the arm to the weight of the leg to assist gravity in doing the work for us. And just about 5 more breaths here. And we'll begin to bring our low backs back down to the mat. Right knee's coming back towards the middle here. Bring the left leg in, so both legs are in. Another gentle squeeze here. A little hug for yourself. Then we're going to let the right leg extend out straight and lower to the floor. keeping the left knee bent, we'll drop that knee over to the right side. And the left arm is extending out flat along the floor. And the right arm could do the same thing, lay out on the floor, or again, if you keep the hand softly laid upon the outside edge of the left leg, we just surrender to time and gravity here. Of course, keeping an eye on our breath the whole time. And we'll give ourselves about 5 more breaths on this side. Begin to make our way back down to the mat with our low back. Draw both knees in toward the chest, and again, a little gentle squeeze here. And then we're going to let the feet come down flat to the mat. Keep the knees bent and kind of heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat, and let the knees drop in against one another here. You can have the hands laid gently on the abdomen, or perhaps more comfortable for you to have the arms out to a T by the sides, soft bend in the elbows. Just a little bit longer here. And then we're going to let the legs come down flat to the ground. Bring the arms in closer to the sides here, and we'll settle into our final relaxation posture. We'll give ourselves just a couple minutes here to completely let go. And at this point, not just letting go of the body, but we can release the efforts and awareness in the breath as well. So little by little, melting into the mat and softening and letting our breathing resume a normal pace and depth. of course, you are welcome to stay here for as long as you might like. So if you happen to have some extra time today and would like to spend it here, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we'll begin to move our fingers and toes around just a little bit. We'll bring the arms up overhead, and with an inhale, we'll reach out through the fingertips, pointing the toes, and soften the body with the exhale. Bring the knees up in toward the chest, wrap the arms around, a little gentle squeeze. If it feels good, you could rock from side to side here. And we're going to roll over onto our side and just soften, melt for just a moment. We'll make our way up to a comfortable seated position, cross-legged or otherwise. We'll bring the hands together, let the palms connect, and the thumbs rest gently against the center of the chest. We'll turn our awareness back to our breath for a moment. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. Namaste. If you enjoyed this practice, let us know. You can drop a comment down below. And if you haven't already done so, if you take a moment to click the like and subscribe buttons, we would certainly appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see you next time.